Lovers of Africa, please come closer. Listen to this video right here to the end. You will be shocked. Oh my goodness. This French professor exposed strategies Western leaders are using to make sure that Africa remain poor, Africa remain impoverished. He exposed the secret, the reasons why Western leaders keep giving loan to African leaders, knowingly that they can never pay that loan back in their lifetime. You know, they said, whoever feeds you controls you. This is what Western leaders are doing here in Africa. They are making sure any leaders that rise up here in Africa trying to liberate Africa, they will take that person down. Listen to what this man said. You will be shocked. Please, listen, pay attention.
No one is interested in Africa developing too much. Because if it develops tomorrow, let's imagine Africa develops its industry like South Korea did, a country that was as poor as Mozambique 60 years ago. If tomorrow it starts making cars, if tomorrow it starts refining its oil, if tomorrow it starts doing agriculture and transforming its agricultural products, it will no longer buy our imports. And so we are not interested in that situation. We are not interested. So the will of the rich countries. We are talking about geopolitics today. Everywhere we see, there is clearly no interest in these countries developing, these less developed countries.
Please watch this video carefully. You will understand the main reasons why Western powers prevent African countries from developing properly.
There was this idea, actually in people's minds, that you develop a country with entrepreneurs. It's an important part, but it's not the main part. An industry is needed, a heavy industry. These countries export oil, export cocoa, export raw materials, but these raw materials they export are often processed in other countries. And processing is what creates jobs.
Quand vous avez une compagnie étrangère qui s'installe, je prends toujours l'exemple du Congo Brazzaville que je connais bien.
When you have a foreign company setting up, I always take the example of Congo Brazzaville, which I know well. Congo Brazzaville, over 90%, only exports oil. This oil is produced by whom? Exploited by whom? By mostly private companies. 60% total, 30% ENI. The Italian, 90% of the company. Then you have a few companies here and there, private ones.
L'ensemble de son pétrole. Elle récupère une partie de l'argent, mais elle est incapable de l'exploiter.
The public Congolese oil company is unable to do drilling. It is unable to exploit all of its oil. It collects part of the money, but it is unable to exploit it. So all the knowledge on production, on reserves, all the quantities, production volumes are decided by the private company, which does not depend on the country. So that's the first thing. There is a real asymmetry of information between the state and the company. The prices of their goods, 90% of exports, therefore oil, the price is not determined by Congo. It is determined by the financial markets. So, when there are tense geopolitical situations like now, prices go up, it benefits them. When the price is zero, as in the COVID period, nothing comes in, nothing comes in. So we can see that there is a very strong dependence. And then this product is exported, processed in France or elsewhere. And the Congolese state buys gasoline back from these countries. So the reality is that there should be an industry that could transform this production on the spot. And it is this one that would create jobs, refineries, distribution, etc. But to have that, what is needed? Funding is needed to finance heavy industry. It's not with €1 of microcredit that you're going to finance heavy industry. And this funding, if the banks don't want to lend it, who will lend it? It's China, but China is a country. It will lend it under certain conditions. Conditions sometimes on access to raw materials or more advantageous sharing of production for them. And so it does not allow them to be completely independent. And it must be kept in mind that rich countries have developed in a world where they created conditions that were favorable to them. The WTO, the World Trade Organization, is an organization that has favored rich countries much more than poor countries.